What's up, guys? Welcome back to the show. This is James. I'm your host. I just wanted to give you a quick little preview. This show went a little bit longer than normal, but just wanted to hop on, give you a quick little preview of what to expect today. First of all, before I do that, just got to say, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, at Dirty and Driven. Easy enough. Or you can email us if you ever want to reach out. Either DM us on Facebook or Instagram, or email us at dirtyanddriven@gmail.com. Oh, one more thing. Stickers. Hit me up. I will send you stickers. Always giving away stickers. I will give them to your crew. I will give them to you. I don't care. I'll mail them to you. Free of charge. Just hit us up. So anyways, just want to give a quick preview of today's show. Today we interviewed Tracy Porter, who was my first boss, my first job in the blue-collar world. I started for him whenever I was 15 and worked for him pretty much till I was probably 20-ish. It was a good time. We had a lot of great stories, a lot of lessons learned. We spent about the first 20 minutes of this show talking about how he, a regular old blue-collar working man, was able to turn his health and wellness around relatively quickly and not really through too much crazy effort. So if you're interested in that, then I would definitely listen to that. There's a lot of great value in those 20 minutes of this episode. And then the rest of it was just lessons learned and funny stories from whenever we were working together and what I learned from him. And of course, just added wisdom that he throws in here and there. Just a quick little background. Tracy was a landscape construction guy and, light construction, landscape construction, that kind of stuff. Outdoor decorative construction really is what we did, or what he did. He was just a guy in a truck, and then he had a couple of us yahoos running around with him. So I know that a lot of people listening are just single owner operator contractors that are just working out of their trucks. So I think that this could have a lot of value for you. Tracy's been doing it for many, many years, and he's starting to kind of make a career shift now and get out of it a little bit. But just wanted to bring him on here and just talk about the last several years for him. He's probably been doing it his whole life. So anyways, I'm going to quit rambling here, and I'm just going to let you get to the show. Thanks, guys. Love y'all. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dirty and Driven podcast. Sweaty. My name is James DeVinny. I am joined by a guest, Mr. Tracy Porter. He is my first boss, the man who taught me everything I know, right and wrong. Mainly wrong, but
it's a comedy show.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're out here. He's getting ready to actually retire a little bit from the blue collar world. Is that the word you'd use, retire?
No, I'm transitioning. That's a popular word nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm transitioning. That may be one of the stupid things you have to cut out. Transitioning, not necessarily out of the blue collar world, but definitely a different career into real estate. So who knows? That could be just as sweaty.
Yeah, well, it could be. Real estate can be sweaty. But yeah, so I figured he'd be a great guest. I probably wouldn't be on this show today if it weren't for him. We worked together for, 5 years. Can you believe that it was 9 years ago whenever I started working for you?
Yeah, you still owe me $5.
Still owe you $5, yeah. Yeah, so anyways, this is going to be a good show, guys. Before we get started, just want to give you that quick reminder. Follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, at Dirty and Driven. We are still giving away stickers. Bar's set pretty low for how to get one. All you got to do is DM us, hit us up. I will give you one. Or if you live in the greater Ponca City area, just let me know and I'll give you one. So anyways, yeah, reach out to us. I've had a lot of listeners. Had listeners from Michigan, Florida, Missouri, Kansas that have reached out, and I've been sending them off. So I know there's a lot more of you out there too. So just hit me up on Instagram or Facebook, and I will gladly mail you a sticker free of charge.
Actually, my first employee I ever had, not to cut in, but that's how I do it, was your little brother, Jason.
Oh, Jason.
I think he made $20, and he's very smart. He was a very smart kid.
What was he, 4?
He was out of diapers, I'm sure. But anyways, he was a hard worker, and so that's how, of course, doing a little project for your mother, that's how she sold me on you. And it wasn't a hard sell, I don't think, because you can't. I was like, if if Jason can corral you, get you to do what you're supposed to do around the house, I shouldn't have any trouble.
Yeah.
I swear, at some point, we're all going to work for Jason. Jason DeVinny.
We might all work for Jason one day. He doesn't do much. He'd be a great general contractor. He just likes to wear his sunglasses and watch it happen.
Yeah. His favorite saying, what was his favorite saying? Don't impact my life.
Oh, quit impacting my life.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Great kid.
One time I told him to quit messing with the hose, and he said, quit messing with my life while we were doing a job at my parents' house. So that, we probably all will work for him one day.
Oh, yeah. I'll sell my house.
So, dude, by the way, I hardly recognize you, man. You look great right now.
I think it's a little bit of stress relief. You know, Mother Nature, she can be brutal. She's a really tough adversary, and over the last few years, she's been dealing it out. So I think after I finally realized, you know, hey, I'll just try something else as I get older, it just kind of all fell into place. So as far as leaving what we do currently, which is landscaping, landscape design, construction, landscape construction, you know, you and I built a lot of walls.
A lot of walls.
Big walls. We built that big one out there at Fox Run across the street from the golf course at Lument's. Anyways, I think one of my favorite things about, I guess you call it blue-collar work, working outside, working with your hands, would be the developing a project with the client and seeing it through. When you can go back and reflect off of the original photographs of the before, and then, of course, see the after. It's amazing sometimes. Some of the stuff that we actually did, you know, I was always very thankful for all the great clients that we had, but also all the great people that worked for me or worked with me, I would say. You know, very blessed in that aspect. Most of the time, I would get my the guys that worked for me from the clients themselves. You know, like your parents, working for your mom. And I think you got Keller involved somehow.
Yeah.
But then there was Landon. And what? Landon? Oh, well, we got to talk about Landon. I just saw he was going to be a dentist, which is something I never, you know, that's almost as crazy, or not crazy, but almost a right turn like I did with real estate.
Yeah.
Landon sitting there being a chemical engineer and a brilliant man. He's a smart guy.
And to think on the first day of work, he was humping a house.
Yeah, that was not good. I'm really not sure if he was doing a selfie, and I'm not really sure what was happening. But yeah.
I don't either. I just looked over and he was humping the house.
He almost didn't survive that first day. That was a little, yeah.
I know he's going to listen to this too. So
that was unlike Landon. He no longer does that, I don't think.
I don't know. He keeps it hidden, I think.
We'll have to watch YouTube. Anyways, what was the question? Was there a question?
I don't think there was a question. I think you'd start talking.
Yeah, we just go.
I don't know, man. I just know it looks like you've lost a ton of weight since the last time I saw you.
Yeah, you know, physical getting out there and moving blocks and bricks and dirt and stuff doesn't always mean that you're eating right.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times we use fast food as a crutch. I've basically just kind of been staying away from that stuff.
Is that really all you've done?
Yeah, just staying away from the fast food. You know, you sit there and you can play with some of these different, I wouldn't call them fad diets, but, you know, stuff that comes and goes like keto and low carb and stuff like that. That works, and I think it could be sustainable. Now, yesterday at a training gathering we had in Oklahoma City, at lunch, we usually have a vendor, like a mortgage broker or a title company or something, come in and do about an hour presentation, and they just bring the good stuff. And I mean, so yesterday, I had 4 monster cookies. I hate to say it, but that's some of the first sugar I've had in a long time.
What was your motivation to finally make that
transition
switch there?
Yeah, I don't know. Health. As you get older and you move, gravity takes over.
Yeah.
Honestly, last summer was brutal. You sit there and you have a few extra pounds or something like that on you. It's tough. But this is not Oprah, is it?
No.
I feel like I'm on Dr. Phil or something already. You got to change it up.
Not Dr. Phil.
I thought this was blue collar or something.
It is blue collar, but man, you know, one thing we preach about here on Dirty Driven a lot is
well, let's talk about health.
I mean, a lot of people, a lot of this industry is not healthy, and I don't think that's sustainable. I mean, you see guys that I've literally, The last year, I had a guy that I saw one day. We bought traffic signals from him, and I tried to call him a week later because we were having issues with our traffic signals, and he had died of a heart attack. And the guy was in his 50s.
Young. Yeah. Well, and that could happen to anybody, but yeah, you see a lot of unhealthy people in the industry, and I think a lot of that is due to the convenience of you walk into any grocery store even, and the interior aisles are just nothing but chemicals.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So anyways, I kind of stay out of the interior. Got an air fryer. Those things are great.
Yeah.
It's so convenient. Sometimes I feel like it's a little too easy. Anyways, I don't know. The staying away from the fast food and or being very selective. You know, I can go to Brahms and I don't have to have all the French fries or all the ice cream.
Yeah.
So anyways, I think it was a necessity to make a change. It definitely helped me with my transition into what I'm doing coming up. Honestly, I think sometimes office work is just as grueling as getting out there and building a wall.
Yeah, well, it certainly can be. You're just sitting in the same position all day,
Yeah.
and I mean that actually tasks your muscles more than you think it would.
Yeah.
Well,
anyways, so as far as health goes, yeah, I agree completely. There's definitely a need. I wouldn't say to educate, but encourage maybe.
yeah, that's my thing, and it's not like I'm just sitting here telling everybody. We do a segment called I do a segment called What the Health every episode, and it's literally 10 seconds. I mean, it's just a quick, here's one little tiny tip you can do, and one thing that I'm really adamant about is just micro changes. You know, it's like you're saying, just instead of eating fast food.
Well, I think one thing, you know, sugar is so different for everybody.
Yeah.
And for me, it was bad.
Mm-hmm.
So getting off sugar was, I think, a key. And that's, I think, kind of like what keto's about. It's kind of a high-fat, low-carb meal plan. But once I got off of sugar, my joints felt better. And when you get to my age and you do the kind of work that we did, your body starts to really complain.
Yeah.
And so, you know, every morning my knees were just so bad. But once I got off sugar, there was a tremendous change. And of course, carrying a few less pounds, I think, will probably help in that. But it's always possible. I mean, look at me. It took 3 months, 4 months. And honestly, after the first couple of weeks, it wasn't hard.
Really?
So, and of course, everybody's different. I still have cravings. I had 4 cookies yesterday.
Yeah.
I just keep on admitting that, you know, shame myself.
Yeah. Well, that's like me. I'm on I call it a Nazi diet. I mean, I'm real strict right now, but whenever I give myself a day, like, which is every couple months really.
Yeah.
I mean, I will mess some stuff up.
Yeah, me and Tom Rhodes took me to the pizza buffet. Tom Rhodes, if you know Tom Rhodes, you're getting a chuckle. Tom Rhodes took me to the pizza buffet, and I haven't been pizza anything for a long time.
That used to be our headquarters.
Oh, I destroyed it. It was so bad. It was so good. It was so bad.
I haven't been there since I worked for you, I don't think. That was years ago. I need to go there sometime. I love that place.
Destroyed it. But anyways, yeah, and I think that was part of my problem. You know, I can't do hardly anything in moderation.
Yeah.
And when you're eating bad and you're indulging yourself, bad things happen. So eating good doesn't necessarily mean that you're hungry. I haven't been hungry changing up what I eat at all. Now, I will have to admit, I did try some of that intermittent fasting.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, and so I think my longest I went was 3 days.
Oh, you did like a long fast.
Well, intermittent fasting.
I thought you meant just like a fasting window, like you stop eting at a certain time, or.
Well, yeah, there's, I guess, all kinds of variations.
Yeah,
and I was doing that. So I was doing that to where you had like a 6-hour window, 8-hour window to eat.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is a lot of people still eat whatever they want to eat. And, and so you still, you know, you can't necessarily, I guess, progress as fast as you want to sometimes. So
Yeah.
one time I did a 3-day just to test it to see what it was like. And after the first day, I wasn't hungry. It
Yeah.
was just, I had a problem walking through Lowe's on the third day. I got dizzy. And I was like, I probably need to eat something. So anyways, yeah, just a mixture of that. Change it up. It doesn't all have to be. Now, my sister, she's a health nut. And, well, all my sisters are. But I've got one in particular that she weighs her food. I don't know what that's called.
Macro counting?
Yeah,
that's what I'm on.
She's
I'm on
intense.
a macro diet right now.
She's intense. And she's got a coach and all kinds of stuff. So,
yeah.
Anyways.
That's what I've been doing. And that's a lot of work. That's more than, that's like if you have specific goals, that's when you do that. Right now I have some specific goals. I wouldn't recommend that to just your average person.
No. Well, she's 53 years old walking around in a bikini. So she's that. I think I would scratch that part. Yeah. Should I say a couple cuss words so you could edit that out?
You can cuss on this show, man. This is a blue collar show.
Oh, I never thought about that.
Yeah, dude.
And I think this is a great show.
Yep.
Go ahead.
So, all right, we'll just, I got one more health question for you, and then we'll move on to more fun stuff. Because, we have some, as I was thinking about some of the things some of the times we had, there's a lot of funny stories from whenever we worked together. Anyways, so just real quick, because you're just a regular working blue collar dude, just like most of the people who listen to this show. You're not an office junkie. At least you haven't been the last 40 years. You're not any of that. You've been out there working just like all these other people, running equipment, building walls, like you said, doing construction. And so what are just some easy, quick, practical ways that, like, whenever you decided to get started, because I'm sure you tried all sorts of stuff, and you don't have to go into what didn't work and all the experiments you had, because everybody's different, but just base level, broad, practical things that you learned from getting into shape.
This is a health question. I thought it was going to be an equipment question.
No, we're getting there.
Oh, well, one of the biggest problems that I had health-wise was convenience.
Yeah.
Because we were always needing to get done. And I think that's the problem that a lot of contractors have. It's a lot more convenient to go through a fast food drive-through window, spend your $6 or $8 or whatever it may be nowadays, $20, and instead of doing a proper meal preparation or actually being selective on what you get. The funny thing is, you can go to a sandwich shop or something like that and think you're eating healthy.
Yeah.
But for me, and of course I can only speak on personal experience, you start wolfing down a big 12-inch sandwich with bread and chips and wash it down with a 32-ounce Coke.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it's just as bad as eating French fries and a cheeseburger. Mm-hmm. So I think and what's funny is I think people can preach to you and you can hear it, but it doesn't ever sink in until you can see it for yourself.
Right.
That may be hard to understand. I may have not said that correctly, but I think everybody has their own wake-up moment sometimes. Mm-hmm. And it could be, directly related to how you feel health-wise or how you look. I think one of the turning because when you're living inside yourself, I don't think you always see what other people see, and until you see that photograph at the family reunion or at the nephew's concert.
Yeah.
And honestly, for me, it was my mom's wedding, I think, where I was like, holy shit, that suit jacket really was not ever going to button up, was it? And it didn't. And it didn't look good open. So, that was one of my realizations, like, wow, something's got to change. And then, of course, even though you have a realization, doesn't mean you're going to act on it.
Yeah.
So, it took another couple of years before I started to realize something needed to happen. So, and at some point, I'll have to ask you again. What was the question?
I was just asking some quick practical ways that.
Oh,
I mean, as a blue collar guy, I mean, like you're out there working. I mean, how do you?
I guess the realization.
How do you eliminate the convenience and
yeah,
that's kind of the big thing is obviously convenience.
So what I did was I finally started splitting off the lunch break and send Quentin and Keegan off on their own to do whatever they want. And I would give them lunch money. I always bought lunch.
Yeah.
And then I would go do my grilled chicken or whatever I needed to do to eat healthy that day. And time-wise, it took about the same amount of time as going to because I made eating healthy convenient.
Yeah.
Now, it is tough on the snack side of things. You don't realize that bag of chips, I don't know anybody that could not eat a whole bag of Doritos in one setting watching a movie.
Yeah.
So that bag of chips and stuff like that, as long as you stay away from that stuff and or as long as I stayed away from that stuff from the grocery store, that was key. If it was in the house, so if I always, whenever I was going to have company, like a family come from out of town, I would stock everything.
Mm-hmm.
Snacks, easy to cook meals, which of course are bad for you, typically prepackaged, processed food. Anyways, stuff like that. Very rarely would that stuff get eaten. Yeah. So whenever everybody leaves, you've got, 2 cases of Ding Dongs in the freezer, and those have got to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So changing all that stuff and, of course, editing my own menu of what I did eat on a daily basis made a significant difference. Of course it did, but I think the key is realizing yourself. And once again, I have a feeling this is going Dr. Phil 100%. I don't know why I get.
We're about to switch it up.
Yeah, I think that's all I have to really just say.
You're just saying make it convenient. Prep your food. Have it ready just where
food,
you heat it up.
I think that would be a good suggestion. Food prep.
Yeah. And if you take your lunch with you every day, then just prep it up and have it ready.
And I got a lot of information off YouTube and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You got to be very careful who you what you view and who you believe and all that stuff, and do your own research. But find what works for you and stick with it. And it pays off. It really does.
Yeah. Yeah. You look a lot better. I'm sure you feel a lot better.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, here I kind of wrote down some things
on that crumpled piece
that
of
I learned.
paper?
Yeah. Well, I stuck it in my cup holder and my coffee cup got on it and then it spilled on. You know how all that goes. Before we make this total transition here, I have to ask about your Facebook birthday.
Oh, so I'm very paranoid. I'm not as paranoid as my dad. My dad thinks if he walks by a computer, it just stole his credit card numbers.
Yeah.
So, but I am paranoid. And so whenever I first joined Facebook and it was asking all these personal questions, I was very reluctant to put any real personal information on there. And one of them they were asking you, of course, was your birthday. And I was like, well, nobody cares about my real birthday. So, because I didn't know anything about Facebook, so I put a fake birthday on there. And then, of course, I got called out by several people that knew my real birthday. And so I changed it. And for some reason, Facebook kept both of them. I don't know why.
Oh, it has both.
So I had a rolling... Yeah, I had 2 birthdays every year for a long time before I figured out how to fix it.
Oh, is it for real now?
Yeah, it's yeah. Why did you not wish me happy birthday? That's not cool.
No, I thought it was your fake birthday.
That's not cool, dude.
Well, because I remember you used to always say, I can always tell who my real friends are.
Who know
because,
me, yeah.
Because all these people wish me happy birthday on Facebook, and they're not even close.
I don't know why it kept 2 birthdays. That's just weird, isn't it? I don't know if it could still do that today or not. But, yeah, because I tried to change my name on my professional page, and it said, no. I was like, well, but it's me. Anyways, so, yeah, Facebook. They called me out. I got it every year. I don't even remember. I think my fake birthday was June 6th. Or no, it was June 30th because it was a day before and a month before and a year before. That's how I remembered it.
Gotcha.
So that's how I remembered it.
Nice. Yeah. So if you guys haven't, I know we haven't really outlined it too well. What we used to do together was, or what Tracy's done for a long time. I mean, I just worked for him for a small blip of his time, but was landscape construction. You know, we were building landscapes, building retaining walls, building. Oh, we built all
Water
sorts of
features.
stuff. Yeah, water features, outdoor classrooms.
Oh wow,
really
yeah,
cool stuff.
yeah, that was nice. That was fun.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, so a lot of that kind of stuff. So I mean, it's not like we were just mowing lawns and stuff like that. But yeah, it was really interesting work. I really liked that because it was actually like a mini version of what I do now. Like we'd build a brick walkway. Well, now I'm building roads. Or we'd break a sprinkler line. Well, now I'm breaking water lines. You know,
Those are called springy roots.
springy roots is a sprinkler line.
Yeah, that's Corey's definition.
Yeah, if you ever hit a springy root with a shovel,
Yeah.
it's probably a sprinkler line.
Yeah.
So that was the kind of stuff we did. It was just cool. It was just like a mini version of everything. We even had like the smallest excavator you'll ever see.
Yeah, I regret not letting you guys operate that. I think I had Landon drive it to a job site one time down the street,
Well, I ran it a couple times,
but
not in any real capacity.
and that was for your safety because that little thing was kind of tricky. It was so high centered,
yeah,
but it's a lifesaver. I still use it today.
yeah.
In fact, just used it over on a project we're doing a walkway for. One, I think probably my last walkway, maybe,
Oh.
unless I do one for myself.
Yeah, yeah. That little thing's sweet. I like
Yeah.
that thing.
Yeah, Kubota K008.
K008. Yeah, it's tiny.
It's a baby. Yeah.
Fit back in the back gate. You know, there's times even now what we do. I mean, we have big excavators, medium excavators. We have a mini X, but it's like still twice as big as that thing.
Oh yeah.
And there's still times where it's like, man, we wish we had a real tiny one.
Do you remember when we did downtown Newkirk
Yeah.
and we excavated all those beds into, and people would drive by and make fun of us? I think the common saying was, "Get a shovel; it'd be faster."
Yeah.
But people don't understand the work that those little things can do.
Oh, they do a lot. I don't know how you could have used a bigger excavator there either.
Oh, it worked perfectly. I can't remember how many tens of tons of material we hauled out of those beds.
Yeah.
So,
Well, people don't. You always get people like that. They're like, get a bigger excavator or whatever. It's like, dude, if you got a bigger excavator, you would be breaking the pavement, which we're not trying to do.
when I started, I had all I had was a wheelbarrow that had a flat tire, and then a shovel that had half a handle, and that was the extent of my tools.
Yeah.
For landscaping. Of course, now I had all the general purpose stuff, but so for me to own that little excavator was a turning point. It really was.
Yeah.
No longer had to spend $250 a day to rent one. That is I don't know if we did another transition or not, but that's kind of how I started viewing things that just take money you make from one project and invest it back into equipment, because that helps you generate more income for the next project.
Yeah.
And or something like that. Anyways, the only thing I regret not buying was a dump trailer. I almost did a couple of times. Number one, they got super expensive.
Oh yeah, they're like $12,000.
Yeah, super for what they do. I mean, it would have been handy, but there are several places that rent those locally that having that little mini excavator is like having your own dump trailer, because it excavates everything off the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
So, if I ever had words of wisdom, which I don't know you could call it words of wisdom, but if I ever had a suggestion for somebody that was wanting to be a new contractor for, outdoor construction, stuff like that, is to invest in something mini excavator or something similar.
Yeah.
Just because you don't know when you're going to need it, and when you do need it, it's not going to be available. And if it is available to rent, it's going to be very expensive.
Yeah.
So that little thing paid for itself many times over.
What I loved about that mini excavator, my favorite moment was right after you got it.
You got fired?
And you were trying to tell. No, I never got fired. I think I was one of the few who never got fired, at least once. But we were working at a guy in a wheelchair's house. And you
I know who that is.
And you said, "This little excavator's so handy. You can
Uh-oh.
You can walk across the yard and it'll have less pounds per square inch than your foot.
Yeah, I think there was some truth to that, but
I think you just said it to the wrong guy.
well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, well, don't we all say things that we regret? And
Yeah.
I'm sure I said several things in the last 30 minutes that I will regret. I say stupid things a lot. And fortunately, we've got great clients that let it go in one ear and out the other. I think we've got some clients that actually get entertained by the stupid stuff that I can say.
I'm sure.
Yeah, it can be entertaining. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we had a lot of clients whenever I was there that would just like sit out there and listen to us, basically.
Yeah, and that's another thing is, you know, to try to be professional but personal.
Yeah.
Personable,
Yeah.
maybe.
Make a friend.
Yeah, and I always considered our clients friends. I mean,
I still see a lot of them around that.
sure.
That
I mean,
are friendly with me.
yeah. I think we were always treated. I mean, heck, I think you and I both agreed at one time that we had the best meal we ever had in Brad Parker's backyard.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Oh,
yeah,
geez.
those ribs. I think about those sometimes.
He can grill
Best
or whatever. I don't want to offend him. I don't know that it's called
Smoke.
grilling. He could smoke. It was amazing.
Best darn ribs I've ever had.
So, anyways, yeah, clients were always. Some of them actually came to my mom's funeral, and they didn't know my mom. So, yeah, we got to know a lot of people, and always be grateful for that. The biggest problem that I think in the last few years is getting stretched so thin.
Yeah.
Just the time of not being able to do everything in a day and or have the energy at the end of the day to do follow-ups and stuff like that. So that's probably one of my, and I don't know if you asked me an Oprah Winfrey question or not and how I got to that, but if I had any regrets, it's just, and I was warned about that at one time when I first started out, saying, yeah, it's easy now.
Yeah.
Because you have like 3 clients. So it's real easy to take care of everybody and keep everybody happy. But wait till you got 1,000.
Yeah, especially right now because it just seems like everybody's throwing money at everything. Yeah. Every contractor in the state, is just, or probably in the country, is just overworked and overloaded right now.
And one of the brokers that I work for now has a great philosophy, and that's top of mind. And to make sure that your clients know that they're in the top of your mind. Mm-hmm. And so I think in the last few years, it's gotten really difficult with so many clients. But the only other, so another regret, I think, not necessarily regret, but I don't think I ever refused a project until later in life when I just couldn't get to them all. But I don't think there was anything too goofy that I wouldn't do.
Yeah.
And so that always kept us behind schedule, of course. Yeah. And the add-ons. I mean, you go to do one thing and 10 things later. So that hurts the schedule.
Yeah. Yeah, we did a lot of weird extra things. I remember moving somebody's plant to their mother-in-law's house.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So many things that...
After building a patio, I was like, how did we get here?
And, yeah, just so many things that can sidetrack you.
Yeah.
And... and Monday or Tuesday, that's not so bad. But by the time you get to Thursday, Friday, you're regretting a lot of those decisions. But anyways, my point, I guess if I had a point, the way we interacted with the clients, they always seemed to have an interest in the guys that worked for me.
Yeah.
You know, the interaction between, I think if you may recall whenever Landon was trying to intern.
Yeah.
And he had a conversation with one of our great clients.
Oh, yeah. It was also a chemical engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I think that's what Landon did that day.
Yeah. Yeah, you weren't even there. You just said, here's your money. Pay Landon at the end of the day and buy mulch and all that. And then I did all the work. I was like, man, I ain't paying you.
But I think, but my point is, I think our clients took a vested interest in you guys.
Yeah.
And so it was always a great experience with, I would say, 99.9% of the people that we worked for.
Yeah.
And you got to know that if they had a dog, I would know that dog a lot better or quicker and would have a better face recognition, I guess, with the dog than I would the client.
Yeah.
I would always remember the dog. Yeah. But
that's one of my points on my things of things I learned working for you, and that was that all dogs are friends.
oh yeah, even if they're growling and barking at you.
I think we're friends with all the dogs.
Yeah, I can't think of any that. I mean, your mom's dog, Boomer. He's one of. I went and saw Jason and your mom not too long ago, I think, which means I forgot. I got to be looking for some stuff for your mom for the property line. Anyways, I thought Boomer had passed at one point, and it was very. I had to text your mom pretty much right away, saying, what happened to Boomer. So he's always been a good buddy. He doesn't like the UPS guy.
No.
Or the FedEx guy. I don't know which one.
Oh yeah, the FedEx guy he hates. Yeah. So I was gonna go over these random points of things I learned. For one.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't actually write this down, but I just thought of it. If you're ever looking to get into the blue collar world, especially at a young age, because I think that's where we're really going to start seeing more employees come along, is at a young age and attracting it to them. I was 15 years old whenever I went to work for Tracy. And now I wouldn't have been able to go work for the job that I work at now, or the company I work for now, because you got to be 18 for a lot of big companies, insurances and stuff like that. So I would just find a guy that's, a guy in a pickup out there making it happen, who can build stuff. And I mean, there's a lot of guys like that do different crafts and trades. And I just happened to have that connection with Tracy. So we went and did landscaping for 4 or 5 years. And so that was a great start for me. And that's really where, I never in my life would have thought that I'd go into construction at that point in time of my life. So it was just a great way to get a lot of experience and different things, and actually get a lot of responsibility, because you're the only employee, or there's one other employee at a time. So
well, and the great thing about that is it works. And the reason why it works so well for the contractor is, I would say, I had full-time employees that had families, and that's a lot of pressure to carry, that we've got to keep rolling hard. Mm-hmm. And to have you guys that were a little bit more flexible on schedule, and that were still living at home, and, had responsible parents and stuff like that, you relied on your survival instead of. So as far as being a contractor, high school kids, college kids, young adults, number one, you're physically, could take it a little bit better than some of us older guys. But just the flexibility in the schedule, and the responsibility of, the kids could need braces and stuff like that. Yeah. So I don't know. And that may be a little self-serving as a contractor. That's what I rolled with, and it seemed to work better for me that way.
Well, it was great for us. At the time, we got paid cash, so that was awesome.
You got to edit that.
Yeah, edit it out for the 87,000 IRS employees. Yeah. That was awesome. And then, benefits to a high schooler. I didn't know what a 401k was. I didn't know what insurance was. I didn't know what any of that stuff was. So our benefits were, we got paid every day, and
you were self-employed. You were a contractor.
Yeah, that's right.
Basically,
yeah. We got paid every day, and we got lunch paid for it. And what more benefits did you need?
That was a generosity that bit me sometimes. I can tell you that. I think it was deserved. There was a little bit of ulterior motive also there, because if you were to go home and take an hour, that would cost me more than if I gave you $10 to go eat something and then come back. Mm-hmm. So losing that hour in a busy day can impact a week.
Yeah.
At the end of the week, that's almost a full day.
Absolutely.
So, anyways, you have to, weigh the pluses and minuses, I guess, for every way you do something. But we also had a nice little lunch break every once in a while. We'd go out, and I think that would help revive us sometimes.
Yeah.
Just chill out for a little bit. And I know some companies, they don't even stop. They just keep going, and those guys are dragging.
Yeah,
at the end of
that's
the
how
day.
it was whenever I was laying it. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, whenever I work on the asphalt crew, I mean, that's
That's
how it is. I mean, you do get your breaks here and there, waiting on trucks, or if you're,
but that's one thing we didn't do. We didn't take a break.
Different. Yeah.
We usually didn't take a break. You just get there and you do it until you're done.
Yeah, just bust ass till noon, and then take our break, and then bust ass the rest of the. It was fast paced work, really. So
I wouldn't say that's the best way to do anything, but I'd just say that it worked for us.
Yeah.
And so I don't know.
One of the biggest lessons I learned from you was shut up, because the customer can hear you.
Yeah, that's one thing you'll realize.
I harp that on Jason all the time.
Especially if you have a loud voice like all of us are kind of known to have. You're standing in front of a window. The people on the other side can hear everything you say. And nowadays there's cameras. And I had one guy, Bill, that
took a peek behind the shed.
He would I'd say, Bill, you can't do that. If you got to go to the restroom, you got to let me know. We'll go to the convenience store or whatever. And I guess it was just more convenient for him. And anyways, yeah, the day of video cameras and all that stuff is, I think the contractors don't realize sometimes how they can be seen and heard to the degree that they can be seen and heard.
Yeah, the other day I was with Jason. We were working on a rent house, and he was commenting about how ugly the neighbor's fence was.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, Jason, and he was screaming it to me. And I was like, dude, they can hear you. They can hear every word. That is not a nice house they live in. They can hear you.
Yeah, what would that be called? You're just not aware sometimes. But the first time you get embarrassed, that leaves an impression. And yeah, I think it was Bill who had some of the funniest, but most, what would you say, impolite would be a kind word, jokes that you wouldn't want.
Bill's one of the funniest people I've ever met, but I would not want him. I would not want my grandma, which was a lot of people that age that we were working for. I wouldn't want him telling jokes around her.
Sometimes trying to corral Bill into keeping it down just a little bit encouraged him.
Yeah.
So that always was interesting. And I guess at this time it's entertaining. But
yeah. The next thing was don't sunbathe on the clock. Do you remember that?
Yeah, you and Keller. That was that same job we worked at.
As the excavator?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the same job. And I got back from doing an errand, and you guys, I think you had your Daisy Duke jean shorts on. At least Keller did. And you guys were suntanning on the back of the trailer. That was a little extreme.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we had done all of our work, and we were like, oh, we'll just wait here. It's a nice day. We'll sit outside. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Always sit in the truck, we learned.
Demerits.
We're degenerates.
No, you got demerits that day. I still have the book. Anyways.
Speaking of lunch,
sure.
The next lesson was that Napoli's rolls are the ultimate power food.
Yeah, I kind of miss that, since I did a little change up in the diet. I do miss Napoli's. I remember I grossed out, I think it was Corey. It may have been you, or I think it was Corey. Because they roll out that bread and it's dripping in oil or butter or whatever. And I added butter.
Oh, that was me. I was like, how are you adding butter?
Yeah.
He said, well, if my arteries don't shut down by the time I'm 50, I'm doing something wrong.
So good.
Anyways, delicious.
Yeah. Napoli's a shout out. I miss you.
Yeah.
Call me.
We ate there a lot. Yeah, that was exactly the story I was wanting to bring up.
Well,
another lesson that Landon and I learned before is when you get paid in cash, do not take your day's wages to the casino.
Yeah, I think you're going to have to cut that out too. I don't know. I tell you this. One time, Corey and I were working at building a big wall in the middle of the winter. And we had a big snowstorm, so it was like, we're not going to be able to do anything this week. So I gave him $100, and I took $100, and I said, let's go make our wages at the casino. And I don't go to the casino. I don't gamble. I mean, it's just not me. So I think it took 5 minutes to drop that $100. But Corey, I think, went back that night and made his week's wages.
Oh, well.
Somehow. I don't know what he did. I don't know if it was the dice or whatever they call it, but blackjack. Blackjack? Yeah, blackjack.
Yeah, blackjack.
So, anyways, that was good. We just chilled out for a week. But as a contractor, as an outdoor contractor, Mother Nature and the weather, boy, she could be an adversary that just really does not play fair.
Oh, yeah.
And that week was tough.
Yeah. Well, there was one day that you paid Landon and I till noon, and you just said, just get the job done. I'm paying you till noon. We were done at like 10. Sure. I mean, so we were done pretty quick, and Landon said, hey, let's go. He said, let's go make a full day's pay at the casino.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That ain't going to work.
Yeah, no, we lost that half day.
Who's got the fancy buildings?
Yeah. Yeah, we lost that half day quick. It was kind of depressing walking into a casino at 10 a.m. because we were the only people in there other than people that I think had been in there
all night
since the last night. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So definitely a low point for us. Next one is always wear shoes on the job.
Is that the day Landon wore his Daisy Dukes?
No, it was Keller.
Oh, yeah.
With his unclipped eagle talon toenails.
Yeah, what was he thinking?
He got his boots wet.
Oh,
in the pond.
Yeah. Because, he went after something that blew into the pond.
Well, he was getting water out of the pond to water some trees.
Yeah, something.
And he flooded his boots. So he showed up without shoes on.
Yeah.
And Daisy Dukes.
OSHA standards.
To the next job.
Yeah. Too bad we didn't take pictures.
Yeah, I know it, right?
All that, yeah.
So he was wearing flip-flops on the job instead of boots and jeans.
Yeah, that's not good.
No, that was hilarious though. Next thing, attention to detail.
Oh, well, there's always stories there, and I remember the one when I wrote your recommendation letter for Eagle Scout, and that was one of the buzzwords or whatever you want to call it that I put in there, and you failed to put your name on the application or something and got called out for it.
Yeah,
and you blamed me.
There was a small... No, I didn't blame you. I just said... I said Tracy said that I'm very good at paying attention to detail, and I definitely left a part blank.
Yeah, you were just seeing if they were paying attention.
Yeah. Well, the attention to detail, that actually is something that I think about a lot, to be honest with you. Like, I feel like that was probably the main thing I learned from working for you.
It makes a difference.
Yeah. I mean, all the little details, and that's something I've probably said at every show so far is, you worry about the details, and that's something that my current boss that I work under constantly pounds in my head is, you pay attention to the details and you worry about the details, and the big picture takes care of itself.
Yeah.
So...
Well, even the smallest detail can make a huge difference at the end.
Yeah.
And, so we always, I don't know how many times we have adjusted things from top caps to plant alignment to redoing something completely just because it didn't look right from one angle or another.
Yeah.
So, attention to detail is key. Sure.
Yeah, and that goes for anything in life, really. I mean,
definitely.
Pay attention to the details on any job you're working, even if you're not the boss or the owner, you work for a big, massive, even if you work for a giant company like Hewitt, you pay attention to the details and people are going to notice.
Yeah, put your shoes on the wrong feet and see how that works out.
Yeah, it's a pretty important detail.
Sure.
Next lesson I learned is this was on the first day I went to work full-time for Tracy. My mom forced me to
I'll
make
never
breakfast.
forget that.
Yeah. And she said, I'm running late. And she's like, you need to eat. And I was like, he's waiting on me. She's like, no, he'll understand. So I sat down and I was like 10 minutes late because my mom made me eat breakfast and eat it all. And sure enough, Tracy did not understand.
I didn't get invited. Yeah. I was sitting in the driveway. Sure.
I was roasted for 5 solid years about that singular moment. So thanks,
good thing
Mom.
you brought it back up.
Yeah.
I'd already forgot.
Yeah. So if you think you're going to need to eat breakfast, then definitely get up early because that is not an excuse to be late.
Yeah. And so that was always something that was important to me, was trying to keep a schedule and be on time and stuff like that. And unfortunately, in the last few years, that's kind of gotten away. No excuse. We all control our own destiny, I guess, but our own schedule. That was always really important. If you are going to say you're going to be somewhere, definitely be there. Now, like yesterday, I was late for a seminar, but I-35 was tied up into a knot. And I could not, you can't outsmart a traffic jam. Mm-hmm. I could not get around it. So anyways, but I sure felt not good about that whole thing. So yeah, getting on time, prompt and all that stuff and being ready to do the job. That's first impressions, especially first day.
Yeah.
I knew somebody at one time that said, it's harder to get fired if you get started on the job. We had a couple of guys that worked for us at one time that said, and this wasn't for me, it was for another contractor, they said, we've never seen a job completed. We started 20 jobs. They were relatively new, been there a couple of months, but we've started 20 jobs and never seen one. We've never got one finished because we're going and starting all these jobs.
Wow.
So
that's a horrible attitude to have.
Yeah, it's tough to keep up. And I don't know that the adage is true to where it's harder to get fired once you get started.
I don't think that's true. I think if you give a customer a schedule anyways.
Yeah, we're going to get started, but you may not see us for 6 months after that. Anyways, I don't know. There's all kinds of different ways to approach a contractor or being a contractor. And I think you have to always find your own way and what works best for you. But I think you put the customer first, or I don't know, it may be an even Steven with the clients and the employees. I think, you always want to treat the people that work for you because they're representing you when you're not there or when you're there. Of course, you rely on their hard work to get stuff completed and looking good. We'll just have to see where this thought takes us.
Well, yeah.
I think I kind of drifted. I'm looking outside the window.
Well, employees are so important. I mean, that was something that, I didn't quite write it down like that, but, I guess I did write that down.
A dog walked by. I got distracted.
Dog walked by. Yeah, treating your employees right is something that I don't think a lot of contractors are doing today. A lot of people work for contracting companies that treat their employees like absolute crap.
Yeah.
And they treat them very disposable. And that's not good. You used to be able to get away with that because there were more people than the contractors had jobs. And now there's way more jobs than there are people to fill them. So treating your people right is so important, but treating your customer right is important too because we live in a day where word travels instantly.
Yeah. And a good word could make you and a bad word could break you. People that are upset, and trust me, I've had plenty of clients that, unhappy for one reason or another. Sometimes out of my control and sometimes, I may have done something different. The thought process of how you treat or how you show respect, I guess, for clients and the people that work for you is probably one of the more important things that. And I'm drifting, James. You're gonna have to edit a lot of that jibber jabber.
I can. That's my job.
Jibber jabber. I had a thought and it just disappeared. Well, I don't know where I was going. I don't know where that started. Did that start 10 minutes ago?
Treating your employees and your clients. And
yeah, we'll have to do a take 2 on that one. Well, as far as how you treat, the old adage is treat people how you want to be treated and stuff like that. I don't know about that. But I think, I know what I was saying. Whenever something doesn't work or something isn't up to par for what the client wanted, bad news travels fast, and I've I would say our track record isn't 100%. There's some projects that we probably could have attended to a little bit better. Once I got extremely overwhelmed, it gets harder and harder to achieve exactly what you want to do in and day out. You'd always hear about the negativity, and that would travel fast. Now I will say that was few and far in between.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to dwell on that. I think our clients that, like you probably are aware of, we've had clients that were there from day one.
Yeah.
And continue to be so. So, and they've been through the good and the bad. I think that always harkens back to developing friendships with the people that we worked for and worked with. There's very few people that if I saw them at Lowe's that I would avoid.
Yeah.
Now, in the middle of spring, I probably would avoid everybody.
Yeah, well, because they're all going to be, when are you going to get here?
Yeah. But anyways, I don't know. I think it all boils down to how you treat people. Honestly, I have no complaints about anybody that we ever worked for. Some of them were maybe a little bit more like myself than I would like to admit in the attention to detail. I
know exactly who you're talking about.
Anyways, but, you can understand that. You can adjust for that sometimes and try to, I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's just a good balance there between,
Sure.
Your people and your clients and treating everybody right. I mean, I think that's your job as a business is to make sure that the transaction is good for, the point of a business is to provide a service, and if you have employees, then the point of that is to make them better people, in my opinion, because they're spending most of their life, at least at that point, at your company. So these people are paying a lot of money for a service, and it's your job to provide a service, and then you're paying your employees to be good employees, and to be good employees, you really have to invest in them and make them good employees. And you invested in us quite a bit in some way or another. No, it wasn't like, we had high grade insurance and top 401ks and, but for a few high school kids, we had really good pay and like I said, lunch, and you taught us a lot of stuff and gave us a lot of experience.
Independent contractors.
You hear that? 87,000 IRS agents.
The buzzword
independent
of the day.
contractors.
Independent contractors.
1089.
Yeah. I don't know. It all works out in the end, but yeah, I think that's true in life. Is how you treat people is how how not necessarily always how successful you are. I never was. I don't think that I was ever profitable. Does that make sense?
I was going to make the joke that you ran a not-for-profit landscaping business.
It basically was that. Yeah, I would not say that we ever had a profitable year. Now, a lot of that was for, I can't tell you how many free things or things that we did that, of course, we didn't charge for labor-wise or material-wise that I've done over the years. And that's out of, I wouldn't say a respect for the business, but I would say it had to do with more with the appreciation for the client.
Yeah.
And I don't think they always understand how much it actually costs you. Sometimes I almost had the feeling that people thought that I got plants for free, that you guys worked for free.
Yeah.
Gas was for free, stuff like that. But let me rephrase that by saying, even though I don't think I ever had an extremely profitable year, I was doing what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say every day was fun, but I enjoyed what we did. And I definitely enjoy creating things from nothing.
Yeah.
I always looked at landscape construction almost like a barber. It's one of the more personal things that you can do for a client is what they do to their house. Curb appeal. And, you get a bad haircut, which I did a couple months ago. Horrible haircut. I'm not even going to talk about it. I'm still not happy. And it's taken Barney 4 or 5 trips to get me back looking
back in line.
Yeah. So, anyways, I always appreciated I wouldn't say confidence, the trust that our clients had in us just transforming the front of their house or the back of the house or whatever into something that they may or may not understand exactly what we were going to do. Even though, in the latter couple of years, I could do it rendering.
Yeah.
Which is basically, I call it fancy paper dolls. You just take a photograph of the house and render a proposal, kind of do a drawing, basically. So, anyways, I always appreciated the trust that the clients had for us to do something like that. That's so very personal.
Yeah.
I think 99% of the time it turned out really well.
Yeah. Oh, I think they all
Which
did.
means, one of my last duties needs to shape this house up a little bit.
I was going to talk to you about that after. My landscape beds are. It's kind of like you always said. Whenever people would say, "Well, come look at your landscaping," you'd say, "I might be a landscaper, but I have the worst landscape in town."
I got the worst.
Certainly in that boat. Sure. I know a lot about landscaping, and my landscape looks like junk.
Yeah, I never went home going, "Oh, I'm excited for the weekend so that I can get out there and landscape."
I'm just happy I mowed my lawn this week.
Yeah, so are your neighbors.
That's where I'm at. My lawn looked bad about 2 days ago.
Well, I love this neighborhood, though.
Yeah, it's a nice neighborhood.
Yeah, I always did like this neighborhood. Anyways, what's next?
You really hit the rest of them. The only one that you didn't hit, because I had customer service, quality matters, how to treat an employee, and then you covered all that based on my mom cooking breakfast. So
sure.
Now the only one I had left is that I don't know if you remember this. This was a job I did specifically for one of our clients that you didn't have time to do. I just went and pulled some weeds for him. But yeah. I learned that, and I think the client learned too, that weeds grow back.
Sure, definitely. Unless you sterilize the soil, which is not good. Wouldn't suggest that.
I pulled weeds for a client one time on a Saturday, and they called me the next Thursday and were complaining because there was a weed that I left.
Oh, boy.
It grew back.
Yeah.
It grew back.
You didn't pull it hard enough, James.
I guess.
Yeah.
So, that was interesting. But, yeah, that was the last point out. But, yeah.
I've got an interesting story there. We did a landscape one time for a new bank building. And I got a phone call a few months later complaining that the left side of the landscape didn't match the right side. And I was like, well, they're not symmetrical, so yeah, they're not going to match, but plant count and selection and all that stuff is pretty even. They said, no, you've got a plant down here on the end, and there's not one on the other end. And so it looks goofy. And I said, well, I don't remember that, but I'll come by and take a look. So I went by, and they had allowed a piece of Johnson grass to get about 5 or 6 foot tall. And I guess they thought it was fountain grass or something. I don't know. They thought it belonged there. And so, yeah, they were upset that there wasn't another one on the other end.
Oh.
So I understand that doesn't really relay completely with your story.
Opposite.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing.
They grew a weed and they wanted another one.
Yeah.
Oh, where do I get some more Johnson grass?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So of all the projects you did, I mean, and just to sum up what we've been talking about, I mean, if I learned a lot about how to just treat employees and how to, with so many bad companies out there, there's a lot of amazing companies too, but it goes back to what I said earlier. It's just a mini version of what I do now. And I learned a lot about just customer service, even though I deal with now a lot more customers and a lot more expensive projects. It's the same thing and the same kind of stuff, and it was great learning that at just a grassroots level of, this person wants their home landscaped and walking them through the whole process, getting them a bid, treating them right, all that. It just was really cool to learn all that and how to treat employees because, again, mini version. We had what we thought were benefits of, pay and food, but now it's like, okay, what do people actually need to survive? I mean, at that point, whenever we were that age, all we needed was money to throw at girlfriends that we're not dating anymore. And
your parents paying the electric bill.
And our parents paying the electric bill and chewing me out for leaving a light on.
Sure.
Yeah, that's part of it. So yeah, anyways, learned a lot there. And I hope that everybody listening will get some great value out of that because it was just, it was a cool place to work. That's probably the only job I've ever had that I never once woke up and thought, man, I really don't want to go to work today. Not that I think that now. I do love my job now.
You should have called me.
There are days. Yeah. Tracy might have thought that.
Yeah.
But what was, of all the jobs you did, what was your favorite project?
Oh, wow. That's hard to say because there's so many. That's kind of the cool thing nowadays is you can drive by and see a lot of that either maturing or still standing. But I think, and you weren't in on this one, and that was the bubbler rocket at Can Garden.
Yeah.
That's just something that continues to amaze me. Not that we did it. You know, Carol Bolden and Mary Lynn Taylor actually found that rock. And I think the city went and got it for them and had it behind the Parks Department for 10 years or something.
Oh, wow.
You'd have to ask Carol. And they always wanted to do something with it. They just didn't know what. And honestly, I can't remember who had the idea to make it into a bubble rock, but that thing's 3.5, 4 foot tall.
It's a big rock.
Big rock.
Puts out a lot of water.
And the confidence that the park department, the Can Garden ladies, you know, forgive me, it is either Garden Club, Master Gardeners, or Herb Fest that facilitated that whole thing.
There's probably a plaque on it.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. I've seen it a million times. I apologize. I can't remember. But anyways.
I bet none of them listen to this show.
Yeah, and, well, that whole process of the design stages, you know, we had to estimate how much that thing weighed, which was a lot. I think almost 7,000 pounds.
Wow.
The volume of water that was going to feed it, the amperage and all that stuff, and I'm not an electrician, that the pump would pull so that they could figure out the electricity supply and all that stuff and how much it was going to cost to run it. So it was more than just making water bubble out of the top of that rock. And once we got started, it became more of a fun project just because we didn't know what was going to happen. And so that's why I drilled 3 holes for that thing, because I was like, well, 1 hole is going to look kind of cool, but 3 holes, wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah.
So I think Landon and Quentin stood on the top of that big rock in Tom Rhodes' driveway for about 3 hours with a hammer drill. And we got that thing all bored out. And then the transportation was amazing to get it set into place. We rented some huge equipment from Hertz. And it went a lot smoother than I ever thought it would have gone. There's all kinds of plumbing and pumps and stuff like that you don't see because everything's below grade. But I would say that was probably one of my favorites. Now, I'm not taking anything away from the walls we built or the patios or the landscapes, of course. I mean, you drive through Copperfield Circle or something like that, and we had a big impact into that neighborhood.
I still love driving through that neighborhood and just seeing, because you can still see all the work we did.
Sure.
And that's what I like about, like I said earlier, I like looking out my office window. I still like looking at that and thinking, wow, we did that years ago.
Yeah, well, that was you, me, and Keeler. Yeah, I think I probably called him Keeler for years. Myself, you, and Keller did all that rock edging and completely changed the face of that place overnight with the big boulders and stuff like that. Now, we never did phase 2, but who knows, that may happen someday.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all pretty awesome stuff. Well, I think that's a pretty good way to end there. I guess talking is hard. I'll tell you what, after recording for a while, it does kind of, your brain gets kind of exhausted.
Boy, I could lose it. If I was on a railroad track, I could lose my train of thought. I'll tell you what. Yeah.
Anyways, just to kind of wrap it up, I always ask everybody 2 questions. The first one is, what is the dirtiest job you've ever had? It doesn't have to be landscape related.
It goes directly to your boss, your big boss, Lee Evans.
Yeah.
I think, I'm not going to say who it was because I'm really not sure. But a friend or an acquaintance of Lee's had an old koi pond, and I think the property was selling. And so I think it was, and I may have some of the details wrong. But anyways, Lee needed to get the koi out. And so myself, Lee, and Lee Jr. met over there one morning. And it was an abandoned koi pond, so it was pretty musty. It was dank and nasty. Yeah. And
koi were still alive?
Yeah, the koi was still alive. I think you'd have to ask Lee. I think we got 5 or 7 out of there. We got them all. I'm pretty sure they all lived. Anyways, we were having trouble catching the last 1 or 2, I think. And so I jumped down there, and the slime and slipperier than ice.
Ooh.
and I went straight down. Just
Yuck.
a big old boy, face first, butt first. I don't remember which, but it was nasty. And I think that's right when I got the new Nissan Titan.
Oh, so this was recent.
Yeah, a few years ago. Yeah. So, and it stank. I don't think I could get that stink out of me for a couple of days.
Yuck.
It was, and I had to live with that for a few hours because, we had to take the koi back over to the where they were going to live. And so as far as nasty, yep, that was pretty nasty, unless surely there at some point there was something to do with the sewer or stepping in dog poop, I'm sure. But
yeah,
as far as
that was probably very similar to being in a sewer.
It was bad. And yeah, it kind of embarrassing. But yeah.
That sounds nasty.
What we do, yeah, and of course I would do that again any day that Lee would call. Sure, we'll go do that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. I may wear different clothes or maybe different shoes.
What, could you not just use like a dip net or something?
Well, it was weird. I can't remember why we couldn't catch him. He had dip nets that we caught most of them with. I don't remember why that last one was so tough. I think it may have went underneath a ledge or something. But yeah.
So you got into rescue.
Oh man, it was so stinky. And I don't do stink. Yeah, I'm the guy that walks around going.
Yeah, you're of all the people in the blue collar world, you're the biggest germaphobe I've ever met.
Yeah. I don't do stink and I don't do nasty.
Yeah.
Slimy.
All right.
Yeah.
Last question here.
Sure.
And I know we just spent a solid 20 minutes talking about health and fitness and all that, wellness and all that.
Sure.
But what is your favorite go-to gas station food?
Not the roller dogs. Oh man.
Yeah.
I see people getting those things off those. Ugh.
You guys, I've talked about it on the show several times about my hate for roller dogs and tornadoes. Tracy is why, because whenever I worked for him, he beat it into my head how disgusting they are.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. But it may sound weird and it may sound, I don't know, stupid, but almonds. Isn't that weird? Yeah, they sell them in the little packages.
Yeah.
That I wouldn't say that they're healthier than the next food, but they're healthier than a freaking candy bar.
Yeah, they're a pretty good option. I buy almonds at the gas station.
Yeah, it's the salted. I don't buy the flavored ones. They got blueberry or they got.
Yeah.
I never tried that, but I'd say those packaged almonds. Hey, that's a go-to.
It's a good go-to.
Yeah.
That's a good go-to. All right, man. Well, I think that's a pretty good show. I appreciate you coming on.
I get a sticker.
You get a sticker.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. I appreciate you coming on. I think that there was a lot of value shared in this show, and I'm just excited about it. It's a cool conversation for me, and I wish you best of luck on your next chapter.
If you need to buy a house or a property or sell a property in Edmond or Oklahoma City.
And if you need to buy or sell a house or property in Edmond or Oklahoma City.
Yep.
You call this man right here.
I will do it.
Everybody in Edmond, Oklahoma City. Where do you have a social media page?
Yeah. Tracy Porter, Coldwell Banker Select is my Facebook. And then, of course, Coldwell Banker Select out of Edmond is my brokerage. And you can find me on the Edmond Board of Realtors. All kinds of contact. Now, I'm still developing all that stuff, so it's all kind of new.
Yeah.
I haven't made it. None of my details are filled out yet, so it's still. This just happened last week.
Yeah.
The transition's been happening for 4 or 5 months, but the legal aspect of being able to buy and sell properties just happened last week. So
yeah. Cool.
You can't do a whole lot till you get that license.
Yeah.
They're very. Unlike landscaping, they're very stringent on rules and regulations.
Yeah, and if you want to become a landscaper, all you got to do is give the state of Oklahoma $100.
Yeah, isn't that funny? Yeah.
And if you ever want to buy a landscaping company that's already established, Tracy will give you $20.
Yeah. I always had people that wanted to buy into my company. I was like, I'll give it to you. It's yours.
Yeah, that was the offer he gave me before was I'll give you $20 if you
Yeah.
take this thing off my hands.
Well, all I could say is good luck with the future of this little project you got going.
Yeah.
Other than that, good luck to to your future.
Thank you.
And I think you had a strong start. And honestly, I think a lot of your success probably can be traced back to your family.
Yeah, got good family, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think that's important. I don't know that we really dived into family, but there you go.
Yeah.
Last words.
I got some good ones. Are you are you like done landscaping or
No. I mean, we've
or are you
got.
going to take on any new projects if anybody's interested?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Not sure yet.
We're finishing up a big project that we've been doing on a old Marland house. It's very interesting. I'll show you some pictures of that. It's harder to get around. We're trying to take care of clients that we may have still had stuff to replace for and issues to address.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't sold a house yet, so we're still.
Well,
Yeah.
you got to get that rolling first.
Yeah.
All right. Well, cool, man. We'll go ahead and wrap that up here. Appreciate you coming on.
Thanks, James.
Everybody, be sure to follow us. Bye.